Hey YouTube, it's been a little while since I posted a video, and when I first posted my first video a few years ago, I didn't expect much to come from that. However, I've had a consistent number of subscribers just trickling in week by week, so I decided I'd be a little bit more consistent in my video posting, and I decided it would be appropriate for this video to do an update review for my Cannondale CAAD10. The CAAD10's been out for a few years now, and I've had a lot more experience with the bike now. When I did the first video, I had about 300 miles on it, and now I have well over 6,000. So I have a lot more experience with the bike now, and I just wanted to do an update. As well as I've changed a lot of parts on the bike as well. It's quite a different build than that first video. So I just want to go over that as well. Okay, so now I just want to jump in and talk about the changes I've made to the bike since the first video, and I want to try to be fairly brief with this part and just kind of briefly mention all the parts I've changed. So one of the first things I did do is I had a professional fitting at my bike shop, and I had the fork cut a little lower, and I dropped the stem and flipped it. I didn't end up slamming it because that was just too aggressive for me. I'm not super flexible, but I'm pretty happy with the setup that it's at right now. I find it pretty comfortable, and it's still fairly aggressive. So another thing that I've changed is the saddle. This is actually the third saddle I've had on this bike, and this is the one that I'm going to end up sticking with. I really like this one. It's the Specialized Toupee Expert saddle. Big fan of the cutout, and I like the little bit of a give that it has in the back. It flexes a little bit. For the computer, I ended up switching it out for something a little bit more complicated with more features. This is the Garmin Edge 500, and things I like about this computer are the ease of upload to my computer, easy to keep track of my data, and it works well with Strava.com. And one thing I'd recommend with these is getting the speed and cadence sensor. It smooths out the speed quite a bit, so you get a smoother reading on the device, and as well as you get the cadence reading as well. Ideally, I'd pair up a power meter or a power tap to it, but that's not something that's really a feasible financial option for me right now. The rear derailleur's been switched. I switched out the Rival to a Force rear derailleur. The Force, in my opinion, shifts a little bit smoother, but it's not a huge difference. For those of you who watched my How to Buy a Used Road Bike video, you'll know I ended up pulling this off a used bike I bought and swapping out the Rival that was on this bike. But there probably is a little bit of a difference in performance, but not much. So some of the other changes that I've made to this bike, in fact the rest of the component changes I've made, is I've actually ended up going with more Williams components. I'm really happy with these System 58 carbon wheels, so I ended up switching over a lot of the other components to this bike. And we'll start back here, the seat post. This is the Williams Icon CCS. It's full carbon, and it comes in at 184 grams, so it's pretty lightweight. Up here at the front, I have the Williams Legion ACS stem and the Williams Maxim ACS handlebars, and these are both aluminum. The stem is just under 120 grams, and the handlebars are just over 200 grams, so pretty lightweight as well. And I really like some of the features on these bars. I like the fact that the drops are a little bit shallower, and I feel like they come back a little bit further than other bars that I've ridden. And they have an oval-shaped top, which I find quite a bit more comfortable than just traditional round, as well as it has the recessed groove under the bottom just for easy cable routing, which is a nice bonus. The last part that I've changed on this bike is just the skewers. Kind of an unnecessary change, but I ended up getting the Williams carbon skewers on it. They make a little bit of a weight difference, but not by much. It was mostly just kind of a fun thing I wanted to do. So those are all the changes that I made to the bike. Oh, one other thing worth noting as well, probably, I don't have them on the bike right now, but I ended up getting another set of Williams wheels. I have the Williams System 30 semi-aero wheels, as well, and I've been really happy with them as well. They're a great all-round wheel, and I tend to use those a little bit more when I know I'm going to do a lot of descending, just because they have quite a bit more stopping power than the carbon wheels. But I thought that'd be worth mentioning. One other bonus, just with these Williams components, they happen to just look really good with the paint scheme on this bike. The white and black gives it kind of a tuxedo look. I really like it. So those are all the changes that I've made, and now I'll jump in and kind of just give an updated review on the bike. Okay, so for this last part of the video, I just want to give kind of a general overview and review of this bike now that I've had quite a bit more experience with it. And I just want to start off by saying that if I had the opportunity to go back and remake my purchase, that I wouldn't change anything. And I think that says a lot, just because obviously with the build I have, I had a lot of full carbon bikes in my budget, but I ended up choosing the CAAD10, and I wouldn't go back on that purchase. And I think kind of an experience that illustrates how awesome of a bike the CAAD10 is I did have the opportunity to take out a Super 6 Evo and to take it for a ride. And I was a little bit hesitant when this was first offered to me, just because I'd heard how awesome of a bike the Evo was, and I didn't want it to spoil my experience with my CAAD10. But I ended up agreeing and taking it out, and I'm glad I did. Why that is because when I was riding the Evo, I was shocked to find out how similarly the two bikes ride. The CAAD10 and the Evo ride very similarly. In fact, the only difference I could tell was that the Evo was more comfortable because it's obviously a full carbon frame. As far as stiffness, power transfer, and handling, I couldn't tell a difference. They felt very similar to me. And I feel like that's attributed to their geometries. The geometries of both these bikes are almost identical. So it helps them to ride very similarly in those regards. So I felt like that was very flattering to my bike, and instead of being maybe disappointed with my bike when I got back on it, I was actually excited, because it just showed me how awesome of a bike the CAAD10 is. So just to kind of briefly go over the characteristics again of this bike, for an aluminum frame, it's comfortable. Compared to carbon frames, obviously it's not as comfortable as carbon, but with aluminum bikes, it is probably the most comfortable aluminum bike I've ever ridden, and it's also more comfortable than many of the aluminum carbon hybrid bikes that I've ridden. A lot of this, like I've mentioned before, is because of the design that's gone into the frame. It has the thinner seat stays and a little bit of a rake in the fork, which allow for kind of a mimicked suspension, which takes out some of the buzz of the road. But obviously it's aluminum, so it's not the smoothest bike out there. You are going to get feedback from the road, but it rides comfortably enough for me. And I've taken it out for long centuries, and I've never felt too beat up on this bike after extremely long rides. Where this bike really shines is the speed and power transfer. This bike is fast. It wants to go fast. It was designed to go fast. So just kind of the features that I'll play into that is it has an extremely stiff bottom bracket area, which allows for great power transfer. With that design, it's got the asymmetrical chain stays where the drive side is thicker than the non-drive side, and that allows for the bike to hold its shape a little bit better when it's under the stress of the drive train on the side that's thicker. The other things that help this bike deliver in the area of speed and power transfer is the bottom bracket area. It's got the BB30 bottom bracket, and the shaping of the seat tube goes from a cylinder to a box shape as it meets the bottom bracket, just meeting it with more surface area, helping it to be stiff. So this is where this bike really shines. Like I said, it delivers in speed. When you get up to mash on the pedals, this thing takes off like a rocket ship. This thing, in my opinion, is one of the ultimate crit machines out there that you can buy. It's extremely quick. Last thing I want to talk about with this frame is the handling. This bike handles well. It has the tapered head tube, which stiffens up the front end a little bit, so it gives you a little more confidence as you're cornering and just maneuvering the bike. I've been happy with the handling, and I believe that it competes well with other bikes in that regard. So overall, I've been really happy with this bike, as you guys can probably tell. You guys are probably curious. The build on this bike, how it's set up now, comes in at about 16.3 and a half, 16.4 pounds with these wheels. With the other Williams wheels I have, the System 30s, it comes in at just a hair above 16 pounds, so it's pretty lightweight. One other thing that I did want to mention, and a lot of people are probably curious about it, are the wheels. I have used these wheels a lot. A lot of people get their carbon wheels and they use them as race day wheels or special event wheels, and they don't put very many miles on them. That's not the case with me. I bought these wheels to use and ride, and I've used them as trainers. I've put, of the 6,000 miles on this bike, these wheels have had over 3,000, and they've held up very well. The only maintenance issue they've ever had was I had to take them into the shop at one point to have some of the spokes retensioned on the rear wheel, just because some had come in a little loose and given it a little bit more flex than I wanted. So that cost me about $9, and they had it back to me in less than a day. So if that's all it takes is $9 every 3,000 miles, that's absolutely fine with me. They've been excellent wheels. They're super fun, and I've been really happy with them, and they've held up really well for the amount of punishment and riding that I've put them through. Okay, so now I just want to wrap up my video. I've been very happy with this bike, and I think it's an excellent choice for those that are considering a new road bike. So anyways, thank you guys for watching my video, and thank you for those who have subscribed to my channel. For those of you who haven't, I invite you to do so, and go ahead and give me a thumbs up as well if you liked my video. And thank you guys very much, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.